Yo Unicycle Lifers, and welcome to another episode of Unicycle Vluglife. You'll be happy to hear that I've stepped up my production game. I'm actually using an off-camera mic and a different lens other than a 12mm. I'm actually a freelance cameraman, so I was just being lazy before, not doing anything like this, so hopefully it makes a bit of a difference. I thought this episode would be quite interesting to do a bit of a unicycle check. It happens quite often in the bike world, but I don't think I've really seen it in the unicycle world so far. And since my 20-inch is kind of like the prototype to the Impact Sylph, I thought it'd be quite interesting to do one on this. I started off building up this unicycle as a 20-inch because I wanted to give the slightly bigger wheel size a go. For those of you that sort of know my riding and have sort of know me in the scene, I used to ride 24-inch street, and I purely rode the bigger wheel for the speed. I came from BMX and I really missed the speed in unicycling. So I used to ride a 24 purely for that. So when the fatter 20-inch BMX tyres started coming out, and made 20-inch tyres a more realistic kind of option on the unicycle, I started seriously considering a 20-inch. And then obviously with the KH rim that came out years ago on the Flatland Une, you suddenly had like a wide rim, and then when the tyres came out, you had a good choice of tyres as well. So I decided to put this 20-inch together. And I think I'm just going to go through it, and I'll start from obviously the centre of the unicycle. I'll start from the wheel and we'll go up. Like I said, this was kind of the prototype for the Impact Sylph. I hate the bloody name. Rod, you need to name your unicycles better. So I started off by basing this unicycle around the rim really. And I managed to find, I was lucky enough to find this Chris Holm 20-inch rim. They're super rare now. You definitely can't buy them new from anywhere, I don't think. And Nick at UDC had this one that he was willing to sell. So I bought that, and it's just got a Nimbus chromo hub. So I built that up into the 20-inch KH rim. And I don't know if anyone remembers Unicon in San Sebastian, but Unicycle.com were selling off a batch of kind of bent out shape reagent frames, and this is actually one of those frames. This one was actually too bent to sell, and I managed to scavenge it out of the Unicycle.com skip. So it's actually had to have some grinding, and it's got odd bearing housings on it, but I mean it works fine. The clamp is just a normal Impact white clamp, and the same with the post. It's just a chromo UDC post. The seat is actually a prototype Impact base, and I think it's nylon 6.6. I'm not exactly sure, but it's grey. It's really stiff though. I mean, it's way stiffer than a normal Velo base. I was thinking of going carbon on it, but the tricks and the stuff that I do, I don't think I really need a carbon base. And this thing is really stiff anyway, so it kind of does me. The foam is some kind of bastardized foam out of an old Impact seat I had, and the cover, I've got the Viva El Trial cover just because it's really nice. And the handle's just a no-hole. I think it's a KH no-hole handle, so that's kind of nice on your hands. Moving on to the more interesting bits of the unicycle, I think by far my favourite part is the cranks. These are actually prototype Eiffels. When Roger was looking at doing the new 118mm Eiffel cranks, he actually made this pair especially for me, and they're 110s. I think they're the only ones in the world. And for my style of riding, they are absolutely perfect. I used to ride 125s, and then when I built this unicycle up, I put 110 moments on because I wanted the speed. But then I switched to these Eiffels, and I absolutely love them. They took me a while to get used to 110s on a 20. It feels more like a chunky freestyle unicycle to ride than a traditional street unicycle. I found that it took me a lot longer to kind of speed up and get my momentum, and obviously a lot longer to stop as well. And doing 180s, especially down sets, I almost had to completely relearn how to land backwards and ride out. and I would find myself looping out quite a lot as well when I first put these on. But now I've got used to them, I absolutely love them, and I can't ever imagine me going any longer on a 20-inch. I think it would just feel really weird. And actually when I get back on my trials unicycle with 140 cranks, it feels like my knees are going to hit my chin. It's crazy. The pedals are just the Nimbus plastic pedals. Nothing special about them really. They get really ground away because I do so many grinds. So they never really last me that long, a couple of months and they're dead. I mean, these are, I think I've had these on a few weeks and they're already, the left-hand side is definitely knackered. I quite like them once they're worn down a bit though. I don't like them with the pins on. I don't use pedals with any kind of pins at all, and I actually prefer them once the pins have sort of ground out, once they've had a week or so's use anyway. And I wear 510s, so I don't have a problem with grip. My pedals spend most of the time covered in wax anyway. Moving on to the tyre, it's actually the prototype tyre. I tested all the tyres for the Sylph, and this was my favourite. I think we tested 6 or 8 tyres, and I found that this, for my style of riding anyway, I know a lot of people that are riding flatland probably need different properties for a tyre, although I know Eva really likes this tyre as well for flatland. I needed something that had thick enough sidewalls that I wouldn't pinch puncture, but was also kind of lightweight and didn't fold. So it was quite hard to find a tyre that had all those properties. But I think I found it in this one. I think with tyres it's always going to be a trade-off, but I think this is the best compromise for my style of riding. It's really wide. I think it's a 2.5, or it's a 2.4, sorry, but it looks more like a 2.5, especially on this KH rim, which gives me the volume. It's not quite the same volume as a traditional trials tyre, and I've actually lost about half of my hop height on this unicycle, which is really frustrating. But it's just, like I said, it's a trade-off with tyres. You're never going to get the perfect tyre. It's got intermediate sidewalls. I wouldn't say they're really thick, but they're definitely not paper thin like a lot of BMX tyres. And it's actually, I think it's a Gamunda, it's called. It's not like a BMX brand tyre. It's actually from a factory in Taiwan, so it's kind of not branded, but it's the one that comes standard on the Impact Sylph now. And like I said, this kind of turned into the prototype for the Sylph, so it's kind of like a hybrid of that really. But yeah, that's it. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I might try and put more effort into the Vluglife videos from now on, depending on how this one comes out. So yeah, subscribe or don't, and I'll see you in the next one.